Alright, hey, how you guys doing today? This is Malcolm Johnson with the A-List Sports Sanctuary, and I know a few of my colleagues are actually writing posts, and I decided to do videos on mine, just to be a little bit different, and so it's not a little bit redundant with the writing articles. And I'm going to touch base with you guys a few little things I noticed during the sports and the entertainment world this week. And firstly, I'm going to answer a post actually that was vlogged by my colleague of mine, Raj Prashad, and his video, Why Is It Cool to Hate Sports? And he mentioned, a couple of broad aspects, of people hating on LeBron for, his taking his talents to South Beach, or Tim Tebow being a Christian, and how that affects him and his perception of when he plays on the field. And honestly, I admit that I am part of the hate group that hates LeBron. I am part of that hate group that hates Tebow. But I do not wish any ill will towards these athletes or these men. I actually respect them for what they do in their sport. But as far as LeBron goes, I feel like his ego is way above where it needs to be, and maybe that's because of the media's portrayal of him being called King James in high school, and he feels like he needs to live up to that expectation every time he plays. And then he doesn't show up in the so-called fourth quarter, as a lot of analysts like to say, then that kind of just eats away at him every time. And of course that's going to, bring out his ego and his arrogance, and that's what he portrays, especially when his comments made after his finals loss, when he says, in a nutshell, my life is this good, how are you guys living? I'm still going to be me, you guys still going to wake up to your regular 9 to 5, and I'm getting paid. And I feel like that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But LeBron's whole issue with me is how he doesn't know how to communicate with the media, as opposed to like Chad Ochocinco and T.O., or even Terrell Pryor when he was, suspended, and Rosenhaus told him exactly what to say. And I feel like if LeBron had an agent rather than his own hype men and his cornermen telling him what to do, he'd be a whole lot better off, and he wouldn't be portrayed as the villain that he is in the NBA through the fans' perspective. But like I said, I don't dislike anything LeBron does on the court. Court-wise, I think he is a great talent. I would like to see him take it to the basket more, since he is, 6'8", 250. Use that frame rather than the jump shot. You have D Wade on your team. He was a spot-up shooter. He's a scorer. LeBron, man, you are a scorer. You need to go to the hole every time. And second point about Tim Tebow, since it is football season, football season's here. This summer we had the off-season lockout finally ended a couple weeks ago, and then in Denver we had the quarterback controversy with Kyle Orton, Tim Tebow, and some aspects Brady Quinn. But focus on Tim Tebow right about now, because I feel like for instance, with Tim Tebow, I understand that he's a natural-born leader, and I did watch all the games that he played in last year, the 3 games that he was in. But let's not get it twisted. Denver had a losing record. They were already giving up, and I see that they put him in to give him that spark, and it paid off, because they won the 3 games, or he performed well in the 3 games that they played. But for instance, that's only 3 games against subpar talent who at that point in the season is resting their main starters, or they've already locked up their playoff spot. I know he had a good outing against Oakland, and when division wise. Now, the aspect of him being Christian and all that, I felt like earlier this week on First and Take, Stephen A. Smith actually had a good point as to why a lot of people don't support Tim Tebow, a lot of analysts and all that, and a lot of athletes are not a fan of him. It's because of the Christian aspect, because he might become the new model of player conduct off the field, seeing as how a lot of players are having problems with the off-the-field conduct. And I don't know if that's actual fact or if it's, a rumor, but in my opinion, I can see that as somewhat of a truthful statement, because you do have players with off-the-field issues, like Kenny Britt's DUIs, or in the past Ben Roethlisberger's, accusations of mistreatment of women. I'm not going to use that word because I feel like it's not appropriate to use that word in this blog, but I'm going to say mistreatment of women. You've had your Pac-Man Jones issues, you've had the Chris Henry issues, I mean, even though he's passed away, but he still had his issues with the underage drinking and underage selling of alcohol to minors. You know, so I feel like Tim Tebow, we need to judge Tim Tebow, the athlete, for what he does on the field, not his off the field issues. You know, I understand he had a winning record in college in the SEC, the toughest conference to play in football. You know, the toughest. And he had a winning record. Won Heisman, national championship. I understand that he is a highly decorated athlete. But at the same time, if that doesn't transition over to the NFL, then that is what we need to judge and need to analyze and critique, not his behavior. You know, I understand. To me, I see he is a great leader. He's a great leader for a team that, let's just say, they underachieved. They were unmotivated, didn't play together. Rather, even with the injuries they had with Elvis Dumerville last year and lack of play from Kyle Orton, nonetheless, you know, lack of consistency with him. But I'm not saying you should give Tim Tebow a chance this year, you know, but to have him in a battle with Kyle Orton, who is the true starter of the Denver Broncos and who should be the true starter of the Denver Broncos, that was unnecessary this whole offseason. And I feel like him being in a loophole like that is doing him a disservice, because it's not only taking away at his confidence, because you're hyping him up to be, you know, the face of the franchise. His jersey's selling #1 in the league, and he doesn't even get any time on the field. And now Denver's going to start using him with the wild horse gimmick offense, and that's exactly what that offense is. It's a gimmick. It's a joke. It rarely works unless you have the right players in the right system. And Miami was able to do it with the two-back system because they had two backs that were that ran hard, fast. Tim Tebow is more of a power runner. I mean, everyone can say he's fast, this, that, and the other. He is a power runner that just runs hard, kind of like similar to Peyton Hillis. His speed may not be there, but he will run over you. He will run through you. Yeah. And I just wanted to take time to address that, because I feel like those mainly some issues with in that response with my colleague Raj Prashad's instance of why we hate on athletes. It's not necessarily that we hate. In my instance, it's not that I hate them. It's more so how they perform and their lack of performing. You know, because everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and I don't let others make opinions for me. I'd rather watch and visualize and see and pick and prod what needs to be fixed with a certain player, as in LeBron driving to the hole. You drive to the hole more than you did take jump shots. Maybe you could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on championships. But if you don't do that, you're just holding your team back, and you're holding your skill set back. And doing that, it's not going to get you a ring, honestly. I'm just keep it real. It's not going to get you a ring. Tebow is doing all the right things. He just needs the proper people to just believe in him, give him a chance, you know. And let's see what he can actually do on the field in game situations against, you know, a Baltimore Ravens defense, or, you know, a San Diego Chargers defense that's like in the beginning of the season, or just a quality opponent rather than, you know, a bottom barrel team that's basically fighting for nothing. And the second point I wanted to address in this, my first ever vlog for esports, the A-List Sports Sanctuary, is this Sunday. We all know that it's going to be 9/11, and, you know, I want everyone to take a moment of silence for all those who lost their lives on that fateful day in New York, Virginia, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and just take a moment of silence and be thankful and show thanks, you know, because we're all different, but that day we were all connected and we all came together to help. And that's what I feel like a lot of people forget, is that we may be different, come from different backgrounds, but one thing is true: in times of need, in times of adversity, we will come together for a common goal and for the common good. And I was going to do a rant about Roger Goodell not letting these NFL players show tribute for the people who lost their lives on 9/11, but I just recently read on ESPN.com an article that says Roger Goodell has allowed Lance Briggs and all of the players to wear their 9/11 gear that Reebok has sent them. And I feel like that is a good gesture, because it's showing that the NFL, grandest stage of them all, that the NFL is there to support. It may, even though they would have gotten a fine if they didn't, Lance Briggs, Matt Hasselbeck, Jamal Charles, they were willing to go with that fine just for the bigger picture, which was remembrance, thankfulness, and I feel like that was a good message. They're willing to take the fine for the bigger picture, I believe one of the athletes quoted. And that's what I think it is. It's not about breaking rules. It's not about doing anything like that. It's all about showing thanks and being gracious for it. Being able to not only be alive, but also showing remembrance to those who did lose their lives in 9/11. And that's all the time I have for today. I'll be catching up with you guys later this week. Post up a new blog. Maybe I might write an article or two. Just make sure you follow us on Twitter at @A_list_sports. Follow the Facebook page at The A-List Sports Sanctuary. And I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.